Specifically, where are you at, like, with the J. Cole? Specifically, where are you at with a Drake or so on and so forth?
I respect their music.
Like that.
For sure. I respect them as individuals and creators.
Like someone yelled out Kendrick. It seems like nowadays people want to build Kendrick.
Nobody yelled out Kendrick. You just heard that in your head. No, earlier. When you go to sleep, you just hear somebody be like, Kendrick Lamar!
If you want to watch this video completely uncensored and uncut, you can watch this version on my Patreon for just $2, patreon.com/JohnAnthonyHD. Drake and Kendrick Lamar are without a doubt on the Mount Rushmore of hip-hop of the 2010s, as these two ruled a generation of hip-hop. Behind the scenes, Drake and Kendrick Lamar were actually taking shots at each other on wax. But how exactly did this beef come about? In the mid-2000s would be where Drake and Kendrick Lamar would begin their rap careers. In 2004, a rapper from Compton, California by the name of K-Dot would release his debut mixtape, YHNIC. This mixtape was released under the label Concrete Jungle Music. K-Dot followed up with his second mixtape, Training Day, on December 30th, 2005. This mixtape was released under Top Dog Entertainment. After the release of these mixtapes, K-Dot would start gaining some local buzz. Around this time, an actor in Canada named Aubrey Graham would decide to pursue rap instead of acting. Aubrey would begin recording music in his mother's basement, and he decided to go under the stage name Drake. On February 14th, 2006, Drake dropped his debut mixtape, Room for Improvement, which would be released for sale, only selling around 6,000 copies. This mixtape was released under his newly formed label called All Things Fresh, which would eventually become October's Very Own, or OVO for short, due to Drake's birthday being in October. After the release of this mixtape, Drake would immediately gain some buzz, and he even performed for the first time that year on August 19th, 2006, at the Cool House nightclub, being the opening act for Ice Cube. The next year, on September 1st, 2007, Drake dropped his second mixtape, Comeback Season, which of course was released under OVO. This mixtape would be where Drake would begin to gain an insane amount of buzz. The lead single, Replacement Girl, featuring Trey Songz, was a hit, and the music video would actually be featured as the new joint of the day on BET. A couple of months later, while Drake was beginning to blow up, K-Dot would drop his third mixtape, No Sleep Till NYC, which was a collaboration mixtape with J-Rock. It would be in 2007 that K-Dot would begin collaborating with other West Coast artists at the time, like The Game, who was definitely one of the biggest rappers on the West during that time. After that, K-Dot dropped his fourth and final mixtape under the K-Dot rap name called C4 on January 30th, 2009. Kendrick Lamar reintroduced himself with his new rap name with an EP called Kendrick Lamar in late 2009. 2009 would of course be the year that Drake would blow up into a megastar. On February 13th, 2009, Drake dropped his classic mixtape, So Far Gone, to which this mixtape would make Drake the hottest free agent in hip-hop and featured hits like Best I Ever Had. Lil Wayne would appear on this mixtape, and around this time, Lil Wayne was easily the biggest thing in hip-hop. So in June 2009, Wayne would officially sign Drake to Young Money Entertainment. As Drake was taking over the rap game, Kendrick Lamar would drop his first mixtape under his new rap name called Overly Dedicated on September 14th, 2010. This mixtape would end up changing Kendrick Lamar's life forever. On this mixtape is a track called Ignorance is Bliss, to which saw Kendrick Lamar glorifying gangsta rap. After that, Kendrick would catch the attention of none other than Dr. Dre, who would become interested in working with Lamar after hearing the track and watching the music video on YouTube. Kendrick Lamar would follow up with his debut studio album, Section 80, on July 2nd, 2011, which was released under Top Dog Entertainment. This album, unfortunately, only sold 5,000 copies within the first week and debuted at number 113 on the US Billboard 200. In Kendrick's fairness, this project had little to no promotion whatsoever, just off the strength of his fan base. Now that you're all caught up on how these two got started, let's get into the beef. On November 15th, 2011, Drake dropped his second studio album, Take Care. On the track Buried Alive Interlude, Kendrick Lamar actually raps on the entire track, and this is where Kendrick and Drake would officially cross paths for the first time. At this time, Drake was of course the biggest rapper in the world, and Kendrick Lamar wasn't known on a mainstream level yet, so for Drake to do this was actually an insane show of love. On the track itself, Kendrick actually goes into how Drake and him met at some location in Toronto. It was speculated by some that Drake sent Kendrick this beat to hop on a verse, but Kendrick sent him back this insane track, so Drake decided to throw it on Take Care.
Cruising in Toronto, hit me on the cellular, thought he was gonna sell me a false word like the rappers I know.
The next year, in 2012, Drake would actually end up taking Kendrick Lamar on his Club Paradise tour from February 2012 to June 2012. So this was definitely another way to get Kendrick Lamar some more recognition. On October 22nd, 2012, Kendrick Lamar dropped his second studio album, Good Kid, Mad City. This album would be where Kendrick Lamar would officially become a mainstream success, as the album sold 242,000 copies within the first week, and would be the highest first week sales for a male hip-hop artist in the year of 2012. On this album, Kendrick would return Drake the favor. On the track Poetic Justice, Drake had a feature. Everything between Kendrick Lamar and Drake seemed to be cool, until the next year in 2013 is when the beef would officially begin. On August 12, 2013, Big Sean dropped a track called Control, to which Jay Electronica and Kendrick Lamar featured on the track. On Kendrick's verse, he infamously would name drop a bunch of rappers who he worked with at the time, saying he's got love for them, but he's trying to murder them. Among those names Kendrick dropped was, of course, the biggest rapper in the world and someone he's worked with, Drake. After Kendrick name-dropped Drake is where the beef would officially begin.
A$AP Rocky, Drake, Big Sean, Jay Electron, Tyler McMillan. I got love for you all, but I'm trying to murder you, nigga.
About a week later, on August 25th, 2013, at the 2013 MTV VMAs, Kendrick Lamar allegedly went up to Drake and told him that it's just rap and nothing serious, and actually dapped him up. Drake allegedly told Kendrick that he's not going to be cool with him after he dissed him. A couple of days later, on August 30th, 2013, Drake would do an interview with Billboard where he would finally respond to Kendrick Lamar publicly. Drake was asked his initial thoughts about Kendrick Lamar's Control verse, to which he said, in quotes, "I went about my day, went and got dinner, and kept it moving. I didn't really have nothing to say about it. It just sounded like an ambitious thought to me. That's all it was. I know good and well, Kendrick's not murdering me at all in any platform. So when that day presents itself, I guess we can revisit the topic." The next month, in September 2013, Drake was on a promo run for his upcoming album, Nothing Was the Same. He sat down with Elliott Wilson for an interview. During the interview, Elliott brings up Kendrick Lamar and his verse on Control, to which Drake responded once again.
Like someone yelled out Kendrick. It seems like nowadays people want to build Kendrick.
Nobody yelled out Kendrick. You just heard that in your head.
No, earlier.
When you go to sleep, you just hear somebody be like, Kendrick Lamar!
No, but here's what's funny about you and Kendrick Lamar. It's like people forget you had him on Take Care. You had him on Buried Alive. You talked about a meeting that you guys had where you kind of was schooling him on the game. And there's a great line about how he realized he's the same age as you and it made him rude and impatient. So it's almost like it's very foreshadowing. You know, he ended up making a great record, Good Kid, Mad City. Just the connection.
Phenomenal album, by the way. Phenomenal album. Yeah, round of applause.
And then now he takes a competitive stance with a verse like Control. And then you said that, you know, he's not murdering you in any platform, but you know that's where that rivalry. That's where people want to try to build. That's if you want to try to build a rivalry. Like, what's your take on that? Do you feel like that they're trying to create a competition that he's not on your level because of your accomplishments? Like, do you feel like they're trying to hype this up and elevate it too much?
Nah, I feel like that's it. It's like, you know, he's the new guy to love, and of course, I mean, rightfully so. He's super talented, you know. But thank you. But he's but he's like, you know, he is the underdog that's extremely hungry. You know what I'm saying? And he's doing his thing really well. And that verse he's giving people like moments. You know, like that verse was a moment to talk about. Are you listening to it now? At this point in time? Okay. And then, but it was real cool for like, you know, a couple weeks. But like, if I asked you, for example, like, how does that verse start?
No, do you remember?
No, and like,
No.
now mind you, it'll go on in Complex and Rap Radar, give it like verse of the millennium and all that shit or whatever. But like, I'm just saying, it's like, you know, I remember like somebody like asking me, you know, or maybe it was you that was like, is Kendrick Lamar your biggest competition like in this generation or whatever? Yeah. And I think that Kendrick has like the utmost potential, man. Like, you know, I see Kendrick tomorrow, I'm gonna dap him. I didn't feel the way about that verse. I get it. I get the moment. Like, you know, he's a good guy. And like, I know that verse had no malice behind it because I saw him 5 days later at the VMAs and it was all love. So it's like, he didn't come on there on some wild, like, yeah, I'm in New York, everybody don't look at me. Like,
I'm the king.
So it was, you know, it was one of those things. It's like, I almost wish he had come in there on that shit because I kind of lost like a little respect for the sentiment of the verse. If it's really everybody, then it needs to be everybody. It just can't be halfway for the sake of the people. But you know what I'm saying? Like, for real, that's just how I feel. Yeah. But anyway, like, you know, I still like, when it comes to competition, I'm more worried about consistency. I'm more worried about bodies of work. I'm talking about hit records. I'm talking about, I'm basically talking about, like, you know, there's one guy who's up every night thinking about how to get better and how to do things bigger. And, you know, that's Kanye West. He's like, you know, he's always gonna be the guy that's trying to outthink and outdo, you know, everybody. So for me, that would be like, you know, that's my guy that I aspire to surpass, you know what I mean? And as far as Kendrick goes, like, I can't wait to see what he does, because now it's time to show and prove. And consistency it's been one album. Consistency is like, you need more than one album, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's time to show and prove, and I look forward to seeing what he does, man. He's f***ing super talented, so yeah. Cheers to Kendrick Lamar.
All right.
A couple days later, Drake sat down with Big Boy's Neighborhood, and when Drake was asked about Kendrick's verse on Control, he said that no one is still listening to it, and that it was just for shock value. Drake would then go on to say that he's not into doing a song with Kendrick Lamar.
In the neighborhood, Drake Day going down right now, man. Control, the record, people still banging it, man. Where is Drake at with Control?
I'm probably like as done as like the rest of the world is with that record. Like, I think it came and it went, you know what I mean? And not to discredit it, like it was a good moment, but at the end of the day, it's just like, it was like one of those sort of like fleeting like Twitter frenzies that like, it was cool for what it was, you know, and I'm just into making, like, my thing is like, I like lasting power, you know, that's my thing. I want you to still be listening to this album in the summer or, you know, next year. I want this to stay in your car, stay on your mind. It's like not even about the music, you know what I mean? It wasn't even about like the content of it. It just seemed to be about like, you know, all the and all the talking at the time, and now everybody's like over it. Nobody plays it. It's just like whatever.
But I think that's because it wasn't a single, and it did what it was meant to. It had people listening to lyrics and excited about hip hop.
And you and Kendrick are good as far as like the albums and doing records with each other. Did that kind of, when you heard your name, did you feel like, man, like that was kind of disrespectful? Or did you feel like, you know, our names were just kind of thrown in there and it was...
I feel like he made a decision, you know what I'm saying? And it was a decision to make, you know? He was like, man, I'm either going to go for this moment because I know it's going to be a big moment, or I'm going to like take heed to the fact that I have real relationships and I'm going to like not do that. Because like, you know, I'll be real, like I've thought of doing that before. You know, I thought like, man, it would be crazy if I just went off on everybody, but it's just kind of like, where does it really get me? Then what? Then every time I rap, people are going to expect me to be confrontational, and when I'm not, then it's not entertaining. You know what I mean? It's like, it kind of puts you in a box a bit. So
I don't think that put Kendrick in a box.
I don't know if I necessarily respect it. You know, we all make decisions. I'm sure he'll be good. He's talented as you know what I'm saying? He's going to have another album and another opportunity to take the world by storm. So he'll be all right, you know what I'm saying? Even if it doesn't feature, you know, any of the names that he mentioned, which it probably won't, to be honest with you. I don't know who's going to go back from that and be like, yeah, let's link up and nah, you know what I'm saying? But he'll be all right. You know, he's a talented dude.
Does it make you like not want to collab with him?
Yeah, I'm good right now, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just about this album and me, and, you know, I don't know necessarily if I feel like 100%, like, I'm not like, man, send me some, let's work. Like, nah, not really. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm really just focused on me and OVO and my side of things. You know, I'm not really like into doing like a record with him. No.
So you and Kendrick, you will sleep tonight. Not together.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Yeah, that's what I always say.
I sleep every night.
That's what I say. I'll sleep tonight.
On September 24th, 2013, Drake dropped his album Nothing Was the Same. And on this album, Drake would officially take to wax to respond to Kendrick Lamar. On the track The Language, on the first verse, Drake takes subliminal shots at Kendrick Lamar. He starts off by saying that Kendrick's music isn't as inspiring as he says it is. Drake then says that he's the one with the motor mouth and that Kendrick should be worrying about him.
I don't know why they been lying, but your not that inspiring. I am the kid with the motor mouth. I am the one you should worry about.
Kendrick Lamar, of course, caught wind of these subliminal shots, so he would respond on October 15th, 2013, during the 2013 BET Hip Hop Awards. Everyone from the label Kendrick Lamar is signed to, TDE, short for Top Dog Entertainment, had their own TDE cipher. During Kendrick's verse, he subliminally dissed Drake when he referenced Drake's album Nothing Was the Same, saying that nothing's been the same since the Control verse. Kendrick then dissed Drake further, calling him a sensitive rapper, saying he dresses in pajama clothes, and that Drake's subliminal shots will never penetrate.
And nothing been the same since they dropped Control and tucked the sensitive rapper back in his pajama clothes. I'm bulletproof, your shots will never penetrate.
A couple months later, on December 17th, 2013, Future dropped his track Remix, to which Juicy J and Drake featured on the track. On Drake's verse, he sends shots back at Kendrick Lamar. He starts off by saying that Kendrick talks like he runs his city of Compton, and that if he brings up Kendrick's name, people talk about him more.
I hear you talk about your city like you run that. And if a nigga say my name, he the hot shit. But if I say that nigga name, he still the hot shit.
2 days later, on December 19th, 2013, Drake did an interview with Vibe, and when he was asked if he dissed Kendrick on the language, he said, in quotes, "I don't ever want to get into responses. It's a commitment to go there. The language is just energy, what it was inspired by. I'm sure that and other things. It's just me talking shit. I never once felt the need to respond to that record. The sentiment he was putting forth is what he should have. Of course he wanted to be the best. Where it became an issue is that I was rolling out an album while that verse was still bubbling. So my album rollout became about this thing. What am I supposed to say? Nah, we'll be buddy-buddy? Mind you, I never once said he's a bad guy or I don't like him. I think he's a genius in his own right. But I also stood my ground as I should. And with that came another step, which then I have to realize I'm being baited and I'm not going to fall. Jordan doesn't have to play pickup to prove he could play ball. No offense. But I'm not going to give you the chance to shake me necessarily because I feel great. There's no real issue. It's tough because the people want to see us tear each other down. I don't want to give them that. There's no point. I have no ill feelings towards the guy. It's just like it's there for me if I want to fall for it. I'm just too smart for that. Hopefully, it's the last time I gotta talk about this, because every time I open my mouth about it, they take this piece and take this piece. And he's hungry, so he's going to do whatever he has to do, like the BET Cypher. But again, it's not enough for me to go. We haven't seen each other, but I'm sure we'll see each other and it'll be cool. If it's not, then I guess that's how our story unfolds. The next year, on August 5th, 2014, during Drake's 5th annual OVO Fest, he brought out J. Cole. During their set, Drake actually shouts out Kendrick Lamar and shows love to him.
You understand? I know that sometimes they try and make it happen because they want to see it happen, but while I got you here on stage, I just want to say, and while you all got your phones out, I want to shout out my Kendrick Lamar. Shout out to Kendrick, man. Listen, I'm gonna tell you something. Kendrick was on my album. We went on tour together. That's one of the hardest alive right there. He's legendary, so shout out to him. He should be standing right there. There's a lot of kings in this shit. Understand what I'm saying? So shout out to Kendrick and shout out my brother J. Cole one time in the whole dream.
The next month, in September 2014, Kendrick Lamar sat down for an interview with the Big Boys Neighborhood, and when they were discussing the anniversary of Kendrick's Control verse, Kendrick was asked where he stands with the people he name-dropped like Drake, and he said that it's still all love.
Where are you at with a lot of the cats now, like the J. Coles of the world or the Drakes of the world? Where are you guys at now?
Same place. Mm-hmm. It's all love from the moment I did the verse to after the verse. You know what I mean? I think hip-hop is a sport, so you're going to have these little spits and spats. And it's all good because, personally, I respect these dudes as, you know, as people. You know what I mean? So, outside of that, it's really nothing.
Specifically, where are you at, like, with the J. Cole? Specifically, where are you at with a Drake or so on and so forth?
I respect their music.
Like that.
For sure. I respect them as individuals and creators. And I think what the media tried to do is insane because they take these black, you know, young brothers and really try to clash it and make bump heads. And that's not right. That's how I look at it. I think it's not right. And I think that's why it's great to really show people how we support one another, because hip-hop was something that wasn't supposed to be here for this long. I'm sure you know, Big.
Yes, sir.
And the more we do that, the more they'll try to tear it down.
After this, it would seem as if these two were cool and that it was just friendly competition after all. But that didn't seem to be the case. This beef would be reignited once again on October 29th, 2014. J-Rock dropped a track called Pay For It. Kendrick Lamar featured on the track, and on his verse, he completely dissed Drake. He starts off by referencing Drake's lines from The Language when he says he's the one with the motor mouth. Kendrick then says that he's ending their friendship and that this isn't a warning shot. At the end of the track, he tells Drake that he can never live in his shoes, which could be a reference to Drake's line on 0 to 100, saying that the shoe can always fit.
Been dissecting your motor mouth till I break down the engine. This ain't a warning shot, this a relevant henchman.
Fast forward to February 13th, 2015, Drake dropped his mixtape, If You're Reading This, It's Too Late. And on the first verse of the track, Used To, he once again sent subliminal shots at Kendrick Lamar when he referenced how Kendrick dissed him on his song Control, but then at the VMAs, he said that it was just rap.
They gon' say your name on them airwaves. They gon' hit you up right after like it's only rap.
The next month, on March 15th, 2015, Kendrick Lamar dropped his album To Pimp a Butterfly. And on the track King Kunta, Kendrick Lamar once again dissed Drake. During this time, Drake was engaged in a beef with Meek Mill, to which Meek Mill would publicly expose Drake for allegedly having ghostwriters. So on this track, Kendrick directly references Drake's alleged ghostwriters.
I can dig rapping, but a rapper with a ghostwriter. What the fuck
Just a couple of months later, on June 25th, 2015, The Game and Drake dropped their track 100. On Drake's verse, he subliminally dissed Kendrick Lamar, saying that he would have all of Kendrick's fans if he didn't go pop and stuck to doing conscience rap like in his earlier days.
I would have all of your fans if I didn't go poppin'. I stayed on some conscious.
A couple months later, on August 17th, 2015, Dr. Dre dropped his album Compton. Kendrick Lamar, of course, appeared on this album, and he would clap back at Drake. On the track Dark Side / Gone, Kendrick directly references Drake's song Energy, saying that Drake is his enemy that's giving him energy by sending subliminals towards him.
But still I got enemies giving me energy, I wanna fight now. Subliminal sending me all of this hate.
On the track Deep Water, Kendrick says that 6 people are going to carry Drake in a coffin after he kills him if they start sending diss tracks back and forth, which is a reference to Drake always repping the 6, which is Toronto.
They liable to bury him, they nominated 6 to carry him.
Fast forward to June 3rd, 2016, DJ Khaled and Drake dropped a track called For Free, and on the first verse, Drake references a line from Kendrick's verse on the song By the World.
This gate for free.
And like your boy from Compton said, you know this dick ain't free.
On March 18th, 2017, Drake dropped his project More Life, and on the track Guile Chester, Drake sent more subliminals at Kendrick, saying that he's #1 in the game and Kendrick isn't.
I know I said top 5, but I'm top 2, and I'm not 2, and I got 1, thought you had 1.
On March 23rd, 2017, Kendrick Lamar dropped the track The Heart Part 4, and on the second verse, he sends more shots at Drake, and he actually really went in on Drake on this verse.
How big pun your punk, you a scared little bitch. Tiptoeing around my name.
A couple weeks later, on April 14, 2017, Kendrick Lamar dropped his album Damn. And on the track Element, he sent subliminals at Drake, saying that he won't mention him by name and that he throws the rock and hides his hand. He then tells Drake to say his name and refers to himself as the Candyman, which is a fictional horror character that is summoned by saying his name 5 times in a row. So Kendrick is basically telling Drake to say his name and he'll meet the Candyman.
Most of y'all throw rocks and try to hide your hand. Just say his name and I promise that you'll see Candyman.
The original version of Element would actually end up leaking, and on this version, he actually dissed Drake, but this time he directly name-dropped him and referenced his beef with Meek Mill.
Drake and Meek Mill beef might got you gassed up, but I'm a whole nother beast, I really fuck you up.
The next year, on January 19, 2018, Drake dropped the Scary Hours EP. On the track Diplomatic Immunity, he finally responds to Kendrick, saying he told him everything he knows.
They try to compare us, but like a job straight out of high school, there's no you and I taught you everything you know.
A couple months later, on June 29, 2018, Drake dropped his album Scorpion, and on the track Sandra's Rose, he takes more shots at Kendrick, saying that he walks in a godly form against the mortal man, which is a direct reference to Kendrick Lamar's track called The Mortal Man.
I walk in godly form amongst the mortal men.
After this, Kendrick Lamar would go on a long hiatus from rap and seemingly disappeared. On December 25th, 2019, Drake did a Rap Radar interview, and during the interview, he said that he has respect for Kendrick Lamar.
But yeah, I obviously, you know, I always keep my ear out for the hardest shit. I have a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect for, you know, the other 2 guys that I'm constantly, you know, up against, which is like Cole and Kendrick.
3-headed monster.
Yeah. So I have a lot of respect for those guys because they also continue to, you know, stay true to what we started with, and finding new ways to do it.
Fast forward all the way to August 27, 2021. Kendrick Lamar would finally make his return and in a major way. On the track Family Ties with his cousin Baby Keem. On his intro, Kendrick Lamar says that he's smoking on top 5s, which definitely could be yet another subliminal at Drake.
Smoking on your top 5 tonight. I'm smoking on your what's the name tonight.
About a week later, on September 3rd, 2021, Drake dropped his album Certified Lover Boy, and on the track Poppy's Home, he threw a subliminal shot at Kendrick, referencing his old rap name K-Dot.
I'm running out of ops, they're running out of options. Put them up for adoption, sign my name on a dot.
3 days later, on September 6, 2021, a track with Drake and Lil Uzi Vert titled Forgot I Was Famous was previewed by a DJ in a bowling alley. On the first verse, Drake actually sent more subliminals at Kendrick, calling him fake woke, and references how he put Kendrick on the map when he gave the Buried Alive track to him on Take Care.
Fake woke, fake deep, you ain't no fame before me. Gave your ass a little sneak peek, yeah. Now you gotta take a back seat.
The next year, on May 13th, 2022, Kendrick Lamar dropped his long-awaited album Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, and on 2 of the tracks, he threw more subliminals at Drake. On the track Silent Hill, he takes a subliminal shot at Drake that he can't hide behind his money from this rap beef.
You funny, dog. Peekaboo can't hide behind your money, dog.
On the track Father Time, he actually name drops Drake when he references how Drake and Kanye squashed their beef in late 2021 and says that it slightly confused him.
When Kanye got back with Drake, I was slightly confused. Guess I'm not mature as I think. Got some healing to do.
The very next month, on June 17th, 2022, Drake dropped his album Honestly Nevermind. And on the track Jimmy Cooks featuring 21 Savage, on his verse, 21 Savage actually was the one to send subliminals at Kendrick when he references Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers album directly. He then says it was a team effort, possibly hinting that this is in fact a diss towards Kendrick and that he's backing Drake in their beef.
Big stepper, he came in a rose, but he left in a stretcher. Let my brother drive while I shoot, team effort.
Later that year, on November 4th, 2022, Drake and 21 Savage dropped their collab album Her Loss. On the track More M's, Drake responds to Kendrick's shot on Father Time when he says that he was dissing him on his album, but it flopped because the numbers that Kendrick's comeback album did were viewed as underwhelming, especially for how much time he took to drop it.
Dissing on his album and it flopped, he deserved it.
The next year, on May 19th, 2023, Beyonce dropped the remix for her track America Has a Problem, which featured Kendrick Lamar. On his verse, he allegedly sent shots back at Drake.
His career didn't come with no life insurance. Hope his day one fans got some facts on him.
Drake got wind of this, so that summer, Drake and 21 Savage would begin their It's All a Blur tour. On July 5th, 2023, during the opening night of the tour, Drake would announce his new album called For All the Dogs, and during this, he sent shots at Kendrick Lamar, referencing how he took 5 years to drop his album.
About how much music I put out, but it's like I look around at all these faces, I know it's summertime, I gotta give you shit. Like I just can't. I don't know about these guys that go away 3, 4, 5 years, want to chill out, all that. That's not me.
Later that year, on October 6, 2023, Drake dropped his album For All the Dogs. And on the track Away From Home, it's speculated that it threw shots at Kendrick Lamar when he referenced Kendrick's hit song Humble.
I'm trying to keep it humble, I'm trying to keep it gracious.
After that, nothing else has been said between the two. But you could best believe that these two will continue sending subliminal shots to each other for years to come. If you want my opinion, I think down the line these two will eventually cross paths and potentially squash the beef they have between each other. I can't exactly pinpoint who is winning or losing this battle because it's just a battle of subliminals. Although Kendrick did name drop Drake on a couple different occasions, I don't think he'll ever go beyond subliminals because we all know that Drake is smart enough not to engage in a full-on battle with Kendrick Lamar because lyrically, Kendrick will end Drake.